I opened Dynamic Still Life for Artists thinking, yeah, I already know this stuff. But a few pages in, I found something that made me rethink how I paint still life. Hi, I'm Dr. Shazia, your paint buddy. And if you love secret art tips, fun painting demos, and brutally honest art supply reviews, then Conversations with Canvas is your space for all that art magic. I'm on the last phase of the Alphabet Still Life Paint Challenge, and honestly, I have no clue what I should be painting anymore. So instead of forcing meaning into three random letters, I thought it would be great to go through a book that completely changed the way I look at still life painting. Dynamic Still Life for Artists by Sarah Sedwick. Now, Sarah Sedwick is an oil painter known for her loose, realistic style. She teaches both online as well as in person workshops. Now, what I really loved in the book is how she called still life a laboratory where you can study all the fundamentals like composition, design, color, value, edges in a controlled environment. You see everything in a still life painting without it being too chaotic and confusing. The part from the book that really stuck with me is where she shares how working with still life helped her discover her personal style. This is so true for me as still life has also helped me get better in my work. The chapter that really stood out for me was all about setting up your studio and arranging your still life. Now, Sarah covers everything from lighting, palette setup, the must have materials in a studio, and most importantly, the three V's when you're arranging a still life. Earlier, I used to never think much about how my still life was arranged, and honestly, in the end, sometimes it worked, but most of the time, the paintings just felt flat and boring. So these simple guidelines are a real gem as now even when I'm using a photo reference, I always catch myself checking up those three V's before I zero down on the final reference. This is such a useful chapter for beginners as well as someone who's been into painting for a long time but is actually a self-taught artist and doesn't know how to set up a still life or even their studio. The chapter now on planning your still life was where I actually stopped and started rethinking how I paint my still life. The book really pushes the idea of planning your still life before you even touch the paintbrush. Using a viewfinder, thumbnail sketches, checking contrast, deciding the format, and value studies is all part of the planning. And this made me realize that I never did all of this and actually just jumped into painting and just prayed that God this should work. Now I know these aren't extra steps but are the actual reason why a painting always succeeds. After all this planning, it's now time to have some fun. And Sarah, in the next chapter, Painting the Still Life, teaches us how you can paint any still life in three steps in the Alla Prima technique. Now, before I forget, I just want to make one point clear. This book is not a step by step painting book. It does have a few exercises that you have to do, but the real focus is on understanding the fundamentals so you can apply them later on in not just still life but any subject that you would want to paint. Now, also, this book has some beautiful large photographs of paintings, and that's not just Sarah's work but also other artists, which I found a real treat for my eyes as that was a great way to study their brushwork. After breaking down her three-step painting process in detail, Sarah in the last two chapters talks about how you can keep the momentum going in your art journey. She shares how to work through creative blocks, bad painting days, and why comparison with other artists is going to steal the joy from making art. She also shares her thoughts on finding your own style, and that part about having an artistic fingerprint quite stuck with me. And that, my paint buddies, is an in depth look at Dynamics of Still Life by Sarah Sedwick. Head to the comments and let me know which art book was a total game changer for you, as I'm always on a lookout for new recommendations. This also wraps up my Alphabet Still Life Paint Challenge, so let me know which letter was your favorite. Don't forget to check out other book reviews and art hacks on my channel. Until next time, take care, keep creating, and I'll see you soon for more art magic on Conversations with Canvas. Bye!